Okay, Power Health Keys to Success, number 28. We're not sure exactly what we're going to entitle this, but you'll get it. We just got done doing a 45-minute presentation on insomnia. If you're interested, we just got done doing it a couple minutes ago. It'll be up tomorrow. And we talk about how insomnia is so related to stress. We talk about how both of those are related to an overfiring sympathetic nervous system. And in general, your threshold becomes pretty low. When you're in here, you have a whole lot of things causing your what we call your metabolic capacity to be low to maybe handle things, particularly when you're in the first phases of treatment, when even we may stimulate you too much, or you may still be in the phase where somebody says something to you and you're that type of thing. But so the stress mechanisms are incredibly important, and the negativity out there in the news and the ability of people to get to you through text messages and the information overload that is out there is overwhelming, and it is a problem. And I have long said, people ask me, what are you treating? Why are we all getting sick? And I'll list off a number of things, from changes in society to two-parent family working units that have to work and to keep up with the thing, and the breakup of the family, and too many antibiotics, and there's a whole mess. And this is, I think, a huge part of what we're seeing perpetuate the problems of chronic pain. So we want to talk about a little bit about like your cell phones, the ones that we have all the signs up here saying don't use. And just news in general, and access to news, and particularly for those of you who are worriers, or particularly for those of you who are aware that you can't watch the news, that it irritates you, that it bothers you, and so it's not a joke anymore. This is a societal problem, and it is affecting your nervous system negatively.
It is, yeah. As we said in our last broadcast, about 30% of the population has anxiety, 16 to 20% has depression, 30 to 50% has insomnia. These are huge numbers. 120 million people have chronic pain, and we find a correlation between what we just mentioned, between anxiety, depression, and insomnia, the underlying stress mechanism in the brain, and chronic pain. There's a definite link for a number of conditions. So then we have to look at, okay, well, what's going on in a person's average daily routine that may be promoting them to not be able to sleep, or them to have excessive worry? And we've had a number of patients, and we're not laughing about it, a number of patients who just, they watch the news and they get really worried about world events, and frankly, things that they have little to no control over.
Something happens in Paris, and these folks can't sleep. You may be one of them.
And we're not saying not to be empathetic, but we're saying it seems that the balance has been shifted from a time where maybe we get some news and, something happened across the world, or something happened in another state, and we think, oh, goodness, that was awful. Whereas today we are just absolutely bombarded. And we were talking to our producer, who also has a significant background in marketing, to where it's the whole marketing goal of our mainstream media outlets to get you emotion, and
put you in fear,
and to polarize you one direction or another, especially as we have these political debates going on so voraciously right now.
It's all about ratings.
It is all about ratings.
Whether you're liberal or Democratic, or whether you're a Democratic or Republican or whatever, if you're following this at all, is anybody really substantively talking about issues? Or are they trying to get this emotional thing going to where they're going to get some sort of a fight going on, and then they're going to have debate, and they're going to get what? Ratings.
Exactly.
They're going to get ratings. They don't care about you. They want you. They want you in fear. They want you to be mad at the other person. They want you to tune in so you can see your person beat that other person up. And this is no joke to our patients. It's probably no joke to anybody, but we had someone just yesterday
who was saying, my husband watches the news all the time. He gets news updates on his phone. He wants to talk about this problem and that problem and this health concern, down in Brazil. And she said, I just can't do it because it puts me into a negative state of mind, and then my anxiety and my depression get tipped off, and then I can't shut it off. Whereas the husband, he can handle that news. For him, it's intellectually stimulating, which is fine. I would argue maybe half the population can do that. I would say about the other half of the population really does not process this news all too well. And I would say I'm even one of those people, because patients find it interesting, and they enjoy when we kind of discuss our personal struggles. Because I know when I was living in the Bay Area going through school, you wake up, you hear about a shooting that occurred in one area of the Bay Area. Then you woke up too late, so then you're rushing through traffic to get to wherever you're going, eating your breakfast while you drive, and then you go all day long. And then you come home and you hear about another shooting or another riot that night, and you can't shut your brain off. And now it's 10 times worse, because now all of us have smartphones, and these smartphones are constantly sending us updates, and we're getting text messages from everyone that distracts us and diverts your attention maybe away from being calm at night, spending time with loved ones. And these are some significant societal issues. They may seem really simple and mundane, but frankly, we wanted to talk about them with our patients so you can be a little more vigilant about how you approach the news. We're not saying don't watch the news, but we're just saying if you get a fear-based response from watching the news, or if you feel sad after watching the news, maybe temper how much news exposure you're giving yourself. And also look at your attentional mechanisms relative to these text messages, because if you're constantly on your phone or looking to see who text messaged you, you're not paying attention to your husband or a loved one.
Maybe that balance ADD.
Yeah, and we're calling it manufactured ADD.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about before, yeah. And that's what Kevin, who's here with us, a lot of you, most of you probably know who Kevin is, said. It's like a forced ADD, and he studies this marketing thing, and it's really an interesting issue because it is everywhere. I mean, I am sometimes so amazed that we're in such constant contact with everything, whether it's the radio, whether it's the text messages, or you're online watching a bird have eggs or whatever it is. I mean, all the things that we do today, it's like we cannot sit down and disconnect. And that is, and there's studies that back us up on this.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's coming out now. This is bad for the kids. It's bad for insomnia. It's bad for stress. It's bad for all those types of things. And it is one of those things that will, for those of you who are out there, who are doing pretty well, who've had your program and you're out there, it is one of those things that you just do it enough and it can start to destabilize those stress mechanisms in your brain that hopefully you're wearing your glasses or you're doing your exercises or stuff. And if you're doing that, then you need to kind of cut it down. I use my phone for following sports. I use my phone for reading the news. And the reason I do it is because I can read the news and I enjoy it, okay? And I think about it myself, but it doesn't really affect me. It's more of a exercise. But if I watch the news, that's probably not a good thing. Mm-hmm. I probably would become much more involved because the emotion is there. People are like, you said this and you did this and do this. And that engages your emotions a lot more than just looking at something. I have my phone off all the time. All the time. I have my phone on vibrate. If it vibrates, I'm doing something else, I just don't answer it. You know, I wait until later on. And then later on, maybe I'll have a point and I'll look it up. And there'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 after I have a break. I've looked at it in like 15 seconds. I go, okay, you know, maybe there was, most of the time there's nothing there that was important. Click it off, put it in there. But, you know, and we were talking before, there's nothing that drives me crazier when I do finally find something I want to read and I'm going down and you're scrolling down and then you hit that little thing down here and it sends you to another whole page.
It sends you to an ad.
It sends you to an advertisement, marketing. And now I want to throw the phone up against the wall. Now it's like, I got to shut the thing off. I got to go back to the site and then find the thing and then scroll down to right where I was and then still make sure that I don't put my finger on that same thing again, which I have done many times. So, but you know, you got to make a light of it. But the reality is this thing has found its way into our life and it is affecting our neurological stress mechanisms. And it is creating kind of like a forced ADD. And for those people who have chronic pain, this is no small issue. So, you know, you need to come up with better strategies with working with your cell phones, and you need to come up with better strategies of handling, you know, what's going on. Why are you smiling? The news out there. He's going.
You're saying you're going to throw your phone into the wall. That's just.
I don't usually get too fired up, but that That irritates me.
Yeah.
I don't know why that irritates me. I'm like this, and all of a sudden, boop, I'm looking at an ad, and I'm just like, and I don't even look at the ad. I never even look at it. That's another thing. Don't even look at it. Just go back to what you were doing.
And I'm just the opposite of Dr. Rutherford. I can't read the news. If I read the news, it just puts me into a negative mindset. So I don't even touch it.
There you go.
And people will lots of times say, oh, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? And I say, no. The world could be collapsing. I have no idea.
So you need to find your own way.
Right.
You need to find your
Which
own,
for me
your own method. I like to be informed, but I look at more as an exercise of, oh, hey, doc, here's what I read today online about the brain, or hey, the stock market's doing this and that could affect us that way, or that's kind of how I look at it. So it's not a big emotional thing to me. But if it is to you, you shouldn't be reading the news. But you need to understand when you're doing these things and you are aware it's affecting you, you need to stop, or you need to come up with another strategy, because this will throw you back. This will set your cortisol levels off. Remember those cortisol? Remember those salivary tests that you used to take? This has to do with that, okay? So just a heads up that this is something that we hear about all the time. I do believe it is one of the factors that is either creating and or at the very least perpetuating the increasing number of the chronic pain conditions that are already out there. And when I got into this years ago, there was only 45 million chronic pain patients out there. Now there are estimated to be 130 million chronic pain patients out there. And so a lot of things are not going well for the American society relative to our brains and our physiology. And I think if you really sit down and realize how obvious it is that this is one of them. Okay, so hopefully that is a realistic and valuable piece of data for you here as far as a success key.
And so next week, send us any ideas that you want us to talk about. And we hope you have a good week. Enjoy, and we'll see you soon.